G'day folks, and welcome back to the channel for part number 7 of my Beginner's Fire Pets Cabalist playthrough. Last episode I missed this shrine. Now, before I go ahead and activate this, I do want to point something out that is useful to know, and my mess up last episode has actually created the opportunity to point this out. So, on your map here, if you come down here, you'll see this is a restored shrine, this is a restored shrine, all these are restored, they've got a tick on them. That means you found them, you activated them, and you have the devotion point. This one over here, however, has a big red cross on it. So this is a really good way to find devotion points that you have been in the area where they are, but you missed them for some reason. So I would have eventually seen this and gone ahead and picked it up. Having said that, I will just give a bit of a shout out here to Lol Loser, who was the person I saw to point out that I missed it. So, thanks. and now we've got that one. So, the other thing I wanted to mention actually before we get started is, on the way over here, I did just hit Respected with Homestead, and as you can see there is 0 points required because I just hit it. And this will become relevant here in a minute. And this episode, I guess we'll call it, we're going to be replacing a lot of gear. So the second half of Homestead up towards Darkvale Gate has a lot of pet MIs. The Bloodsworn Codex you could use as an offhand, and I may use one depending on what drops I get. Clearing up your offhand so as you can get a better relic here is also a really good thing to do. And as long as you have decently high rolls on the physical and vitality conversion to pets on one or the other of these two weapons, losing the +3 to raise skeletons and the +2 summons there, kind of not ideal. You'd like to keep those. So depending on what we get with that book, we may or may not use it. We will also be replacing our rings, both of them. Golus's ring here is decently useful. It's got a lot of regen stuff on it. You can get some good rolls with good resistances on it. But we have pet MI rings coming up at Darkvale Gate. So we will be killing what is, in my opinion, one of the scarier bosses in the game twice, at least. Now, he can drop 2 of the rings on 1 kill. So if you get lucky there and you get 2 rings and they both have a pet affix or they both have good resistances, then you're good to go and you don't need to kill him again. But otherwise, you're probably going to have to kill him twice to get 2 rings, and maybe even a few extra times if you particularly need, for example, Chaos and Aether resistance. We're also going to replace this amulet, which is good because this is a level 8 amulet, and I would like to get one with a little bit more resistance, but also +1 to all skills in Necromancer is pretty good. We'll be replacing this helmet. Whatever you have here, there's a skeleton MI helmet coming up. We will be replacing this. And then the last thing we'll be replacing is Hallian's Crest here. Now, I got of Cage Souls, which is +3 to raise skeletons and +3 to summon Hellhound, which is really going to hurt to replace. But this is going to hurt even more if I don't. So I will be replacing it with a Monster Infrequent medal that comes with chaos resistance kind of baked in. So with that in mind, let's head on over to Homestead, and I'll point out something that I'm not going to be able to do because of a decision I made earlier. Now, ordinarily, when you are back, where are we? When you're back down in the Cronley area, and you get, well, I guess it's down here more than in the Cronley area. But you get the choice to either side with Isaiah Redden or believe his lying, thieving partner and kill him, and then you get this ring. You do get a ring that is decent for early on. Vitality and Chaos Resistance is useful to have for sure. But what you miss out on is a merchant here. So if you side with Isaiah Redden, you will have a merchant here, and he will sell you resistance potions. Now, I think I have a couple of recipes for those resistance potions, so let's just go ahead and have a look here. We go consumables. I do actually have the Bloodbound ointment here. So I can make these, and you make 3 at a time. See, there's a little 3 there. But they are expensive. 1 Chthonic Seal of Binding for someone who's been playing for thousands of hours, you're probably not going to worry too much about one Chthonic Seal binding. If, however, this is one of your first characters, or even your actual first character, you're going to have probably 0 of these at this point. And you're about to get a bunch of quests that want 3 of these each, and also a devotion shrine that also wants one of these to activate. So you're about to need 7 of these, and then you also want another one for these potions, maybe. So the easy answer is to just not make the potions and have this merchant here. Now, I don't have him, obviously, because I sided with the lying, thieving person, shall we say. More to kind of show it than anything else. So I don't have access to that. The other thing you can do is come to this merchant and just search for Chaos Res. Then you can go back to Devil's Crossing and you can search for Chaos Res with 2 merchants here. So we can do Chaos Res. I'm actually going to put that on my clipboard. And here we go. Here's a ring with 14% Chaos Resistance. Now, I'm not going to buy that because it's quite expensive and also only has 14%. But maybe this helmet, 7%, not particularly amazing. How about this amulet? There's 22. So you kind of get the idea. You can vendor farm stuff for resistance holes that you may have. If you're coming up to an area like we are, right here, this is a lot of chaos damage, then it can be worth doing that and maybe wearing a ring temporarily that will give you a bunch of chaos resistance. Now, like I said, I didn't find any. Here we go. We've got some gloves here now. So insulating of insight. These could be good. I'm not going to bother with that because I'll be right back here in half an hour going, oh, I don't have any Aether resistance in this Aether area. So I'm going to leave that for now, and I'm going to leave this one as well. So I mentioned earlier we just hit Respected, and that is relevant because we have the Hysteria Relic here that is not quite ready to go, but it is something we can use. So this will give us a relic that will give us an extra pet. This will give you a crab spirit. It's a spectral crab that does cold damage. Does a little bit of vitality as well. That will get converted to fire. So this will be a cold and fire crab when we eventually make one and find an offhand so as we can actually replace it. All right, let's head on out the door here. Now, the other way you can get chaos resistance is by replacing your enchanted flint, which is the component on these 2 daggers, with, is it salt? I think it's salt. Purified salt? Nope, that's the Aether Ward. Imbued silver, there we go. So you can get 20% chaos resistance per weapon, or per shield, weapon and shield. You can use 2 of these, as well as +6 to maximum chaos resistance. And these are auras, so they also apply to your pets. So they will help your pets survive in this area. They will help you survive in this area. So what I should do is I should make 2 of these, and I should replace the flint on my weapons to get my chaos resistance to 86%, because it also has +3 to maximum resistances. And that would also put my pets, where are they? Pet chaos resist would be at 40% as well. That's what I should do. It's not what I'm going to do, though. We're just going to head out, and I'm going to play a little bit careful. And by that, I mean probably do nothing different. Honestly, 45% is kind of enough. It's not great, it's not amazing, but the developers, I don't think, were expecting you to have 86% chaos resistance going into this area. So for the Blood Grove, the fallow fields, you can probably get away with, 40, 50%, something like that. I would be a little worried coming in here with, 20%. But a little bit low is fine for now. So we're going to follow the road here, and we will get to this rift gate that you can see on the map. And we're going to go and talk to the Death's Vigil. Now, if you happen to have sided with Kaiman's Chosen, they're kind of up here. They're on the other side of this little river. You can go up here. I think you can fight the guards Yeah, you can. And they're relatively weak. They're not going to try and keep you out or anything. You just pretty sure you can't go in there at all. So standing doesn't permit you to enter. That's where Kaiman's idiots live. I mean, Kaiman's chosen, sorry. And the Death's Vigil is the same if you sided with Kaiman's chosen. One, stop cheating, because necromancers can't side with them, with a few workarounds. But either way, we're going to go in here, and we're going to talk to... What's his name? Is it Nathaniel? No, it's Master Varuk. Not even close. Okay, let's pick up this quest here. I will recover the remains. The next quest he's going to have for us is give me 3 Chthonic Seals of Binding. We're also going to, like I mentioned, have a Devotion Shrine over here, which is going to want another one. And the other 3... It might have been a component, actually, that I was thinking of when I said the other 3. Maybe I was thinking of the Sanctified Skull component. Anyway, regardless, we need a lot of them. So let's go ahead and kill some cult members. The ones with the yellow names have a decent, I'm going to call it, chance to drop them. The ones with the white names, I believe can, but it's a vanishingly small drop chance. So we generally just want to be killing the ones with the yellow names. I mean, playing a pet build, you're going to be killing all of them anyway. Okay, Bloodsworn Codex. Let's see what it's got. So actually for us, this is kind of not great. Without pet affixes on it that give us skill points we need, the cooldown reduction, stun duration, offensive ability, well the offensive comes from that aggressive prefix. Frostbite is the cold stuff. So realistically, this is a Briarthorn item. And we don't have a Briarthorn because we don't have Shamans. So actually, this one's not too interesting for us unless we can get some decent affixes on it. Then maybe. But we're also heading over this way because there is another quest over here that I usually skip. And you know what? This isn't the quest I'm talking about, but this is another one that I usually skip. We're going to go ahead and do this. Oh, there's Nathaniel. What's going on here? I want to speak to the Taken. So we can talk to Ralia here. We can burn her, but we're not going to do that. How do I know you're telling the truth? I will talk to them. And now you basically just... If you try and convince him, he ends up saying, you know, you're in league with her, we'll kill you both. And you fight them and they die. So I'm just going to attack here. Because I know the outcome. And now she just kind of lets herself down. Which, I mean, why didn't she do that before? But anyway, we're going to talk to her. And then she is going to give us the Witch's Effigy here. Which is not amazing, but it's an okay offhand. We're not going to use that because that dagger is better than this. But in a pinch, if you really wanted to get the Ghost Crab, then you would need to find an offhand, and that can work. The quest I was talking about over here that I almost always skip, though, requires dynamite and killing a ghost. Now, how much dynamite do I have? 2. That may be enough. We will see. Also, haven't seen any Chthonic Seals yet, which is not ideal. So we're heading up here to, I think it's called Morton's Claim, and of course it's blocked off. So we'll just take the detour. So Morton's Claim here has a quest where you blow open a cave, you go into the cave, and the person who asked you for help in getting into the cave is now suddenly hostile. Surprise! And we fight her. I'm not sure, actually. And that's going to give us our new hat. So Myla Finnegan here. Do you need help? Sure, I'll help you out. Is this enough dynamite? Here you go. Blow it up. It was only 1, which is good. I had a feeling it was going to be 3. And now we're into the bone pit. And Myla wants to have a chat. You tricked me, and not if I kill you first. And because we're playing pets, we just kind of destroy her and it's fine. Now, depending on what prefix and suffix you get on the Spectral Crown, it could be better or worse. Impervious of Heroism is not bad. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to use it. And the only resistance that would just really change there is the poison and acid, and that's because I had an anti-venom salve on there. So the other thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go and pop that anti-venom salve across, and that'll fix my resistances again. And I've also picked up an additional +3 to raise skeletons, +3 to manipulation for later, and -3 seconds skill recharge on raised skeletons. Now, Bonds of Bismail is this one. We don't have that yet, but if we're still using this helmet, when we do unlock it, we will get some physical resistance for our pets as well. This one's not a bad helmet. Not bad rolls on it either. Not amazing, but not bad. So I'm happy with that. Alright, let's head on back. And we have 4 more items to replace this episode. So we better get to it. Now, ideally, that helmet you want of Cage Souls on it, if that can drop. And you probably want either warding or whatever the chaos resistance prefix is. So in a perfect world, you'd want chaos or aether resistance on it, as well as +3 to raise skeletons, if that's available. I can't remember. But we didn't get that, so it is what it is. Also, I'm now way over the 26 hard cap. I'm at 29, I think? 28. Doesn't matter. We're going to lose 3 points from here in a little while anyway, so it's fine. Okay, really need to get my hands on a Chthonic Seal, because I want that devotion point. And we're just going to pretend that I immediately spent the previous devotion point. We're also going to talk about Bvar here, because, well, he's here. You would generally want to keep your pets between you and him for Bvar. There's my Seal of Binding, lovely. He has Bvar's Pendant, which is the +1 Oathkeeper amulet. But he also has 2 Bloodsworn Repeaters pretty much every time you kill him now. And these can be really scary. So Void Touched is chaos damage. The gun does chaos damage. And then of Alacrity is attack speed. So he can have some really scary items, and he will be shooting you with them. So generally you want to keep yourself, or you want to keep your pets between you and him, because he can do some crazy damage. He's one of 2 reasons why I generally don't come into this area with less than probably 40 or 50% chaos res. I mean, I'm a little bit under now, but yeah, I wouldn't go much lower just because of him. You can just run away, obviously, but I like to kill him. Alright, so 1 Chthonic Seal of Binding, and I have 1 Chthonic Seal of Binding. And like I said, we're just going to ignore the fact that I have 4 points here. We're going to spend those now. So let me double check what I said you should be spending these on. After finishing the Jackal, we're going for Soleil's Witchblade. The reason why is Eldritch Fire here. It says it has -5% fire resistance at the moment. That goes up to, I think, 17% when it's fully maxed out. 15, 17%, something like that. Might even be 27. Could be misremembering. And also, because we will be attaching this to a pet, this is going on the Hellhound, anytime the Hellhound triggers this, that fire and chaos damage there will get multiplied by our pet damage percentage. So this can actually be a decent amount of damage, and it does spread similar to how Bloody Pox? Bloody Pox. Similar to how Bloody Pox works, similar to how Ill Omen works. That debuff does indeed spread. Alright, let's give our pets a bit of a refresh, and we'll continue heading north. Now, the other thing I'm picking up in this area is these bodies. You'll see the stars on the map. This is the Black Legion insignia, and you want to get 5 of them. If you happen to find more, it's fine. Go ahead and pick them up, and we will keep them for ultimate difficulty. This is the Remains of Malkadar, which is one of the quests we have. So the next quest for the Order of Death's Vigil is they want 3 Chthonic Seals of Binding, and I don't have any yet, so I'm not going to go turn that in just yet. Totems, this is probably a mistake to click on, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Totems are fun, totems give a lot of XP, and you can kind of hide over to the side and be relatively safe. especially because the pets are in between you and them, and these are not particularly dangerous as long as you can hide. So yes, I'm hiding. I will check the blue boots here. These are pretty good. Putting these on would lose me some skill points. It would lose me my poison resistance cap, but I would gain 4% physical resistance and some armor. It's probably not worth it, all things considered. So I'm going to leave it for now. But those boots, you definitely don't want to hang on to blue items just because they have a couple of skill points, especially when they are, you know, Blight Fiend, which you've already got maxed out, and the Hellhound, which honestly could be a 1-point wonder and it really wouldn't matter. Alright, so we'll continue north here. You should see in a second here the next Rift Gate pop up, and we are going to go ahead and grab that. And then we're going to do some shopping. Alright, there's another 1 Chthonic Seal, which is an improvement over the 0 I just had. So one thing that is pretty much an open secret at this point, most people know about it, is that there is a secret merchant in this area. And he sells monster infrequent items. And this is important for us because the item we want from him, well actually there's 2 items we want from him. We want an amulet that drops from killing Kaiman's Chosen. Sorry, that's a medal. A medal from killing Kaiman's Chosen. And an amulet from killing Death's Vigil. And obviously you can't be hostile with both of them, so if you want both, you have to come see Benevold here. And what has he got? Vigorous of Arcane Balance. So the Kaiman's badge here, this comes with that Chaos Resistance baked in. It also happens to have Elemental and Bleeding on this one. That's probably good enough. And then this one is Resistant of Ruin, a little bit of Poison. So I'm going to lose some Elemental, which I'm okay with, and I'm going to lose some... Well, actually, I'm going to gain stuff here. So this particular badge is perfect. It's fine. I'll take it. I did lose +3 to Summon Hellhound and Raise Skeletons on my Hallian's Crest, but I did also just pick this up, so my skeleton should still be at 26, which they're not quite. But we are going to grab one of these Death Watcher pendants here, and this does have +1 to all skills in Necromancer, so they will still be 26-16 raised skeletons, so that's going to be fine. I'm going to vendor these as well. I should be doing this in town because the next step is to actually go to town and then just kind of hang out. I'm going to go bank stuff just so it doesn't look like I'm wasting time. That's exactly what I'm doing though. So we're going to bank this. I'm going to hang on to these. I'm going to hang on to these. And the rest of that as well. I will go ahead and change my components over once I've got the amulet. So let's go ahead and go back to the Bloodgrove. The idea behind coming back to town is just to wait for something like 10 seconds, so as Benevold here has new stuff to look at. And I do recommend, after you have bought one of these, don't look at any of the others, because if you find one of these that's really good, and you don't have the bits for it now because you bought this one, you're going to be upset. So it's not worth looking at. Warped of Attack, not great. The things I'm looking for on a Death Watcher's pendant is resistances, and ideally, I would like to get my hands on the Of the Grove suffix. Now, I am absolutely going to tell you, do not reset this until you find that. If you find it in the first couple, great. Don't sit here and reset it until you get it. Because of a change in 1.2 or 1.2.1 or whenever it was, sometime around 1.2, the rate of rare affixes showing up on items in shops was vastly reduced. So I know I have used this method in previous playthroughs, and I've mentioned how good it is to find Of the Grove on these +1 to skill amulets, so you basically don't have to change them out until the end game. Don't do it here. You'll notice these are both magic and magic, and then if we go over here, well, that's a rare prefix, but these are both magic. How many? We've got 7 items here. How many rare do we get? We get 1, we get 2, we get 2. 2 out of a potential 14 affixes. So it's been very, very reduced. And just find something with some resistances or go until you get bored. Now, I'm probably going to go maybe 1 or 2 more resets. And then I'm just going to continue. My current amulet has some piercing resist, and I don't need that. And it also has some elemental resist and, 20%. I don't need that. I'm well over the cap. So that's fine. We're going to reset maybe 1 or 2 more times. And then that's it. We're done. Whatever it is, I'll buy it. So, we've got... I know I just said don't do this. This one could be alright. Some elemental resist. This one's only got the chaos. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, Crushing of Tormented Souls. We got 14% pierce resistance on this. I've just finished telling you how much I don't need pierce resistance. So that one's a no. And this one's Impervious of Celerity. That's poison and pierce resistance. It's cheap as chips. It's 30,000 bits instead of 100,000 for this. Yep. I'm happy with that. Done. There we go. Okay. Skeletons, maxed out. That's really important. It's really good. We've also missed a level up, so we'll go ahead and spend that. And this is going to be maxed out Storm Spirit. So this is the highest amount of elemental damage we're going to get without plus skills. We also get the elemental resistance aura, without which I'm no longer capped, although I do have these 2 components that I'm going to put back on. Wardstones, that's going to cap me out. Having said that, I may just use 1, and Chaos Resistance is now maxed as well. Let's go ahead and put that in Spirit. We will need, I think it was 17 Spirit by the time we get to max level, and I think 10 Cunning, something like that. We'll need some anyway. Okay, so once you've done that, once you've got yourself a new medal and a new amulet, and you've picked up a helmet, let's go ahead and fix our components here. So I no longer need these. If you want to hang on to something like this, just for the +3 to all skills or whatever, go ahead and do it. Wardstones here are not particularly expensive, so having one that you're just going to hang on to is fine. Do be careful when you put them on. So this one here is going to give me 6% movement speed, elemental resist that I don't need, and bleeding resist that I also don't need. So I don't need this one. Which means I'm going to put an Aether Soul on instead. That's not what was supposed to be there. Do I have the Aether Soul? I do not. So Aether Soul is from the Devil's Crossing. Where are you? There it is. Already learned. Apparently I just can't type. Or I can't spell. So here we go. Aether Soul. And this is going to give me 16% Aether resistance, which is still not going to cap me, but it's nice to have. It's also going to give me 6% less damage from Ethereals and Aether Corruptions. And you could make the argument for... Do I have Black Tallow? I don't have Black Tallow. I think it's from these guys here. I think the Black Legion has the Black Tallow. Let's go ahead and get my movement skill back. This guy. Nope, it's going to be Death Vigil. Who we don't have in town yet. Okay. We'll get back to that later. But the Black Tallow is effectively the same as the Aether Soul. It's just it does Chaos instead of Aether, and it also does % less damage from Chthonics. Right, so I need Wrathstones. I need 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. And then Aether Soul. Done. So, a bit more resistances. Definitely worth getting Black Tallow if your Chaos Res isn't 50-60% by this point. But otherwise, I think we're good to go. So, let's go ahead and portal back to the Bloodgrove. And yes, I did delete my Rift out here, but it kind of doesn't matter. I don't want to run all the way back down here. Alright, next mission is Griver's Mill. So let's head on down there to the mill. We're going to clear it out. One other thing to note is because of this amulet, the Death's Watcher's pendant, it actually gives us a heal on Call of the Grave. So this now lasts longer, but also restores 15% health. This only applies to you. Your pets don't get that heal. They will get the heal from Blood of Dreeg, but they're not wearing that amulet, so they don't get that heal. Another seal, lovely. What are we up to? 2. So I need 3 before I can go back to the Death's Vigil. So we're just going to keep killing these guys, and I guarantee you, you will have 3 of these before you finish the Darkvale Gate. It's going to happen. In before that one guy who didn't get any to drop comments. Alright, here we go. So this is the mill, and we're going to clear it out. There's one spawn, I guess we'll call it, out the front, and then we go inside. Here's another spawn. There we go, everybody's dead. And we have now completed, where's the quest? Lumber for the Legion, there we go, complete. Let's go ahead and pop this as well. Again, you want to kind of keep your distance from these guys. Now, my Chaos Res is fine, but these guys especially really hurt. They can potentially be wielding... Did I get one to drop? No, I didn't. They can have a Monster Infrequent Axe, which gives them a huge amount of chaos damage or physical damage, and they can seriously hurt. So you definitely want to keep your distance from them. What else did we get? Anything good? Not really. How about these gloves? No. Chest? No. Okay. That's fine. We'll continue up the road here. The next stop is going to be Darkvale Village, which we definitely do want to go ahead and clear. Also, kind of missing a lot of the Bloodsworn Codices. I would have expected several more of them to drop by now. Maybe it's maybe I'm used to ultimate levels drops, and I've come back down to veteran level drops, and it feels weird. Okay, there's my 3rd seal, so we're good. Like I mentioned, you will not get through the Darkvale Gate without having 3 of these. Gonna go ahead and scout this area here, just in case I decide I need to farm totems at some point. There's one that spawns here. It'd be nice to be able to see it from a little bit further away. Alright, so we're officially in the village of Darkvale, but this is kind of where I consider it to be officially the village of Darkvale. Alright, let's go ahead and pick that up. Free XP is never to be left on the ground. And now we more or less just make our way through the village. Inside the village, there are, what, 2, maybe 3 things that are kind of noteworthy. There is always a treasure trove in here, and always dynamite. There is a boss at the top. So at the top of the village is one of the scarier bosses in the game, especially if you don't know kind of what she does beforehand. And there's potentially a totem here. I'm not going to get into the totem stuff at this point. Suffice to say, I'm pretty sure it's not here. I actually wasn't paying attention, but I think I would be able to see it by now if it was here. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it's not, and we'll all have a good chuckle if we get there and it is. So here's the dynamite. This dynamite will be here every single time, and the treasure trove that uses the dynamite can spawn here. There's a few other places it can spawn, and I'll point them out as we get to them, but today mine was here. So we will continue working our way through here. And this little section here, I do... No, that's no good. Grab that, though. I do prefer to clear this area out. The totem would be on this red circle if it was going to be in the village. The reason it wasn't, actually, is because it was here. So just north of the... Excuse me. I need you to stop that. Just north of the mill here, you have one option for it to be here, and then it can also be here. So 1, 2, and then the 3rd spawn is here. The other one is either here, down here behind the waterfall, or actually all the way down... Where are we? All the way down here. So there's 2 chaos totems in this area. This is another spot where your treasure trove may be. if you didn't get yours in the same place I did. And we're just going to go through these houses because free XP. This is another spot where your treasure trove could be. And there is one more spot just before the boss, and you can see that devotion shrine there. When you see the devotion shrine, check your chaos resistance. If this doesn't say 80%, or at least a number that is quite close to 80%, you may be in trouble. This is the final location where your treasure trove can be, just here next to this door. It might be on this side, but I'm pretty sure it's on this side. Okay, so Zarya the Carver is the boss of Darkvale Village. And Zarya has a couple of tricks up her sleeve. So she does kind of middling damage, nothing too crazy, but she summons these two chaos crystals, and they will nuke you pretty much at the same time. And if you don't have good chaos resistances, they will basically one-round you. So you will go full health to dead faster than you can, say, lickety-split or use a potion or whatever. You die incredibly quickly if you don't have good chaos resistance. The other thing I'll mention at this point is, yes, there's a shrine here, but if you click on that shrine and you're fighting the stuff here, Zarya will run over, and you probably won't notice until the crystals show up next to you, and it's too late. So we leave this until after we kill Zarya. And bonus points for anyone in the comments who points out that I forgot to get this after I kill Zarya. Alright, let's go ahead and pop all the buttons and kill Zarya. Now, depending on how good your damage is, you may actually kill Zarya before the crystals show up. Not quite. But there we go. Bloodsworn Codex, no good. Zarya's pendant is the +1 to Shaman skills amulet. Also comes with a bunch of pet stuff. We're not going to use this. Obviously, we don't have Shaman as part of our build, and the pet stuff is kind of whatever. +1 to Necromancer is more valuable to me. Okay, I didn't forget. Let's go ahead and do this shrine. There we go. Shrine has been cleansed, and we get a devotion point, which is going into Salil's Witchblade. Most of this constellation, chaos damage is useless to us. Chaos and fire damage, useless. Chaos and fire damage, useless. So defensive ability and some stats. That's what we get from this. But this is the source. Eldritch Fire here. That's why we want it. Alright, let's head on in. This is Darkvale Gate. Grab the rift, and I'm going to head back to Sora's Bastion and actually turn some quests in. So maybe I can get to 41. We'll see how we go. Do probably need to empty my bags as well. Alright, so we've found Malkadar's remains, which is what Master Varuk wanted. Yes, I have those. These are the seals you seek, so that's a bunch of bits and some reputation. And now we're going to gather the essence, which, where are we? Ethereal essence, which is in the mine. Now, depending on how confident you feel at this point, the mine is where I would suggest, if you are not feeling confident, that you stop. This quest is... The quest itself is not particularly dangerous, but the area that it is in is incredibly dangerous. So I'm going to show it, and I'm just going to mention that if you don't feel safe heading into the area, I mean, if you're playing softcore, literally who cares, just bum rush it and you'll be fine. But if you're playing hardcore and you don't want to go into this area, then absolutely skip this quest and you will be fine. Because if we look here, where is the Death Vigil? You get reputation with these guys for killing ethereals, which are just everywhere. So you will get full reputation with Death Vigil without ever going into this mine. It'll be slower, but you will get there. So don't stress if this seems a little bit difficult for you. Alright, coming in from this side, your first stop is going to be this little house. So just run on here, wait for your health to come back. Your pets don't care about the Aether Fire. It's only the player that cares about them, or that cares about it. Next stop is going to be this little house. So just run onto the wood floors and you're fine. Again, wait for your health to come back. And there's two ways to go here. You can either go down here, which takes you down the stairs and into that area, or you can go the more dangerous way, which is also the more lucrative way, which is up this way. So again, first time you see wood, just run for it. Try and stay off the aether floor as much as you can. And the good thing about pets is you don't have to go down there to kill that. Your pets will kill it for you. There we go, it's dead. Get close enough to get the crystal, and we are on our way, having never set foot on the aether fire at that point. So we'll fight our way through here. And at this point, there's no real aether fire that you have to stand on. We can go around all of this stuff. I am going to go through some of it because I want the dynamite that's over here, and obviously more aether crystals is more better. So you're going to take some damage, but remember, Call of the Grave is a heal, Blood of Dreeg is a heal. I mean, Healing Potion is obviously a heal. So you're going to be fine. Also, the Men Flesh from the bird, that's a heal too, so we're going to be fine. Okay, here's Novaria's Stormfire. This is the NPC that we've been sent here to kill. So let's go ahead and push all the buttons and just go ahead and blow her up. There we go. There's our ethereal essence, and we picked up some interesting gloves. Alright, this guy over here, Venarius the Backbreaker, we'll kill him in a second. But I want to look at these gloves first. Okay, lose some armor, lose some aether resistance, gain a battle cry proc. Battle cry is really good for pets because total speed. This is an aura that applies to your pets, and giving them total speed and 65% damage is actually really good. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and chuck it on. I lost a little bit of aether and vitality resistance here by swapping this in. I kind of don't care. That of Kings is going to be really useful. Let's go ahead and kill Venarius then. Alright, push all the buttons, go ahead and curse him up, and just run over here where it's kind of safe-ish. And keep an eye on the number of pets you have. They will kind of die occasionally, but it's fine, we just resummon. Pick these up, we're not going to use any of that. Resummon the pets. Okay, this part here, I just came up here for the dynamite, and yeah, maybe there's a good ring. There's not, but, you know, it could have happened. Alright. Back to Sora's Bastion, we'll turn this one in. And next one should be the Archon's Ashes, which is going to be a little bit of a wait before we get to it. So we'll leave that be. I will obviously pick the quest up, but it's going to be a little while before we can do it. Assuming I haven't forgotten a quest. Gathered the Essence, the Keeper, I will speak to her, there's level 41. Right, so Storm Spirit is maxed out. The next thing, I'm tempted by Vulnerability, for sure. I'm also tempted to put a couple points in Curse of Frailty, just to increase the radius on it. But the next thing we want is 1 point in Emberclaw, and then I guess we could put 1 point in Lightning Strike. But Hellfire and Bonds of Bismail, and Aspect of the Guardian, let's be honest, this is really good. These are the next three kind of big things. So, push the bar, 1 point, max these. I'm actually going to put more points into Blood of Dreeg. So, 3 extra points in here makes this a 15% heal instead of, what was it, 11? Is it 11? 10. So, more healing. The guide I wrote specifically calls for 6 points, which is probably going to be 18 or 20%. I think it's going to be 18. Which is kind of close to 20. This is just generally good to have. More healing, more better. So we'll go with that. And we're at 10 in spirit now. I'm going to hang on to this for a little bit. I'm not really feeling particularly squishy. I don't think I need more spirit for just now. And I'm kind of worried that I have a cunning item coming up. So we're going to ignore that for the moment. We'll pick up the quest here from the Keeper. And it is indeed collecting the ashes. So we'll pick that up, and we'll do it when we get to it. Well, actually, we're going to run past it and then come back. Okay, Darkvale Gate. Darkvale Gate will be the last bit of this episode, but this is quite an important area for any pet build, because the boss has the pet ring MI. So we're going to work our way through here. You could go across the bridge here, you could end up having to go around, you could come through this way, however you get there. Doesn't really matter. Oh, there is, just here, next to this ramp up, there is a crumbling wall, which you can go ahead and bash. Come in here for some hidden spoils. Pick up some extra loot that will almost never be useful. Alright, and then this little section here, this is where you want to end up. So, straight up the edge if you can, otherwise you'll end up coming back this way eventually. Depending on spawns, you could potentially not end up in this room, but usually you will. Blood for Chthon, lovely. This little door here could be blocked off. Usually either here or somewhere else will be. You'll have to come back this way or through here. You almost always end up in this room. Which is good because there's a lore node in there, which is free XP. Alright, let's keep on moving. There is a dynamite in this area, and it looks like I'm going to be picking it up without too much trouble. Oftentimes you won't be able to get here without taking very large detours. This time, however, looks like I'm just going to be able to walk in and grab it. And then we will head down here. Now, there's also a totem in this area, and it could be here. Mine's not, but it could be. It's another Bloodsworn Codex that I'm not going to use. It's entirely possible that I just keep dual-wielding these daggers until Malmoth. Having said that, it's probably worth getting my relic back at this point, so we may do something about that as well. Ideally, we get a Bloodsworn Codex of Cage Souls or of Binding, and we get some skeleton bonuses on it, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Alright, let's go ahead and point out some loot in the walls here. So we can go in here and find the secret loot in the walls. There's also another piece of loot in the walls that I skipped. So just because I enjoy the loot in the walls, I'm actually going to backtrack and show it. So when you get to the door here, depending on which way you came in, you may not need to backtrack here. You may have already walked past it. There is also this one down here, which again, hidden spoils. And as always, it's not going to be very good loot, but hey, it's free, you just got to walk over there and get it. Same with this guy right here. Free Searing Ember. Absolutely not worth it. Alright, that's fine. There are 2 more pieces of loot in the walls on this level, and I'm going to show them just because, as I said, I enjoy them. Looks like we got the far spawn on the totem here. Could have been here. It's not, obviously, but we will definitely be walking down here to get it. Because totems are fun, and it's actually kind of close to where the hidden loot is, so we'll go ahead and pick that up. This particular totem has an annoying habit of spawning stuff on this side of the wall as well as in there, so you may have to come back in here to clear the totem, but it's kind of fine. Why are you guys still alive? Alright, we'll take their loot. And I'm going to clear the area here. Just make it a little bit safer. Also going to kill these guys. Alright, that should be enough. Let's go ahead and pop this. There we go. Again, I'm backing off. Hopefully so as they will ignore me and kill my pets. Or allow my pets to tank. There's a perdition chest. I don't remember if I mentioned it before. I think I did. But this is definitely worth hanging on to. If you ever get to the point where you can use it. Can I use it right now? I have the levels. It's kind of ruined my resistances, so I'm not going to use it now. But the perdition set at level 40 is pretty good for all the reasons I mentioned when I talked about it earlier, but basically armor. It's good because armor. Alright, more loot in the walls over here. Like I said, always fun to get the free loot in the walls. More seals of binding, lovely. More cultists to kill over here. This whole section is optional. You can just run straight through this part, kill almost none of this, get none of this loot, skip the totem. Whatever makes you happy. Let's go ahead and reset all of our pets. Okay, and we are coming up on Karoz, or Thalnosh, depending on which version of him you want to talk about. And this is, in my opinion, one of the scariest bosses in the game. I believe he is the Act Boss of Act 3, depending on where you want to put the actual end of the act. But I'm pretty sure he is officially the Act Boss of Act 3. Definitely, like I said, one of the scarier bosses in the game. To fight him, you want to have as close to capped vitality and chaos resistance as you can get. And in that vein, hang on. Nope, I've got one here, so I don't need to go back to town. But I'm going to cap my vitality res with that unholy inscription. The rest of my resistances are looking pretty good. He doesn't do any aether damage, so I don't care about this massive hole in my defenses. And we'll do another check before we get in there, because these guys exist, and they kind of hit hard. So I'm going to get my pets to kill them off. Before we go in to fight the boss, I'm going to refresh all of my pets, so they're all full health. I'm going to make sure I'm full health. I'm going to wait for all my cooldowns, all that fun stuff. Lost a skeleton there. Just clearing the area. I'm being a little more careful than I need to, for sure. But we're doing a kind of guided walkthrough, so it is definitely worth it if you're unsure about this boss. Take a little bit of time. Get everyone to full health. It is absolutely worth it. Check your resistances. Make sure you've spent all your points, all your devotion points, all that fun stuff. Alright, everyone's done. Let's go in. So the first form of this boss is pretty easy, and honestly, if you've prepared for this, you will probably just delete this boss and wonder what all the fuss was about. If you're not prepared for this, you are going to die horribly, and you'll know exactly what all the fuss was about. Alright, so here's Thalnosh. Now, like I mentioned, if you're prepared properly, you're not going to see most of the stuff he does that's scary. If you're not prepared properly, he will have tentacles on the ground that damage you over time. He will summon the same crystals as Zarya does, and he also will be shredding your resistances. So all of that adds up to instant one-shot out of nowhere. Unfortunately, he didn't drop me a very good ring. Impenetrable is kind of meh, and Alacrity is literally worthless for me. So this particular Bloodsworn Signet is kind of whatever. However, these are the pet MI rings, and they are the only ones in the entire game. In terms of MIs that you can go and farm. So getting a good pair of these is probably not a horrible idea. You can hold out for pet affixes. I'm looking for resistances. So if I got a Lich's Bloodsworn Signet of warding, let's say, I would be happy with that. He can potentially drop 2 of them for each time you kill him. So until you have 2 of these with good resistances, I would say it's probably worth spending a little bit of time here and farming him. I'm going to do that between episodes, but I would definitely recommend killing him a few times, especially if you're kind of had a similar experience as I did, where he didn't get his crystals out, and he didn't get his little tentacles out of the ground, and he just kind of died. If you're having that sort of experience with him, then absolutely just kill him a few more times, get some better rings. If it was a bit dicey for you, then maybe you want to skip these. +3 to Bonds of Bismail is basically health for your pets, and it doesn't really matter if you don't have these, or even if you maybe wait until the end of normal. So when we've been all up here, we've been through Ashes of Malmuth, we've done all that, we've gone through all of Forgotten Gods. Maybe come back when you're higher level and you've got more damage and farm him then. But these are definitely the rings to have if you can get good affixes. And like I said, I'm going to farm him a few times. in between episodes. But this particular ring here, I'm not going to use that. Impenetrable of alacrity. Yeah, it's not great. Do remember as well, if you are not planning on farming him, if you just one and done, say you killed him the first time and he dropped 2 rings that were really, really good, make sure you come out here and get the Rift Gate before you go to bed or to dinner or wherever it is you're going. If you don't get this, the game doesn't give it to you, so if you close the game before you get to this, you'll have to run through the entire Darkvale Gate again, which I'm going to do anyway, and I recommend you do as well, but maybe you don't want to. Anyway, that is going to be the end of episode 7, so I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye for now.